Hello, hello. This is National Sales Director Kristin Sharpe coming in with your Thursday Thankful message. And today I want to talk to you about how to, in a sense, listen to people's objections or reasons why they believe they can't start a Mary Kay business and how you can respond. Obviously, you guys, when we convince people to do Mary Kay, then sometimes we have to convince them to work. But sometimes through the art of asking questions, as people give us objections or concerns about starting their Mary Kay business, it gets them thinking, it gets them pondering, and it gets them realizing there are such possibilities. Also, sometimes when you ask questions and they answer it, they realize that maybe their objection is just an excuse or a limiting belief. So let me give you some examples. When someone says, gosh, Mary Kay sounds good, but I just don't know if it's the right time. Have you heard that? I just don't know if it's the right time. School's getting started. I'm so busy. My son's starting travel ball. My daughter's a cheerleader. I'm taking care of my mother, all the things. I just don't know if it's the right time. I usually just listen and then I ask, so what do you think would make it the perfect time to start? What do you think would make it the perfect time to start? And then I just stop talking, okay? Or I might say, when do you see your schedule or life changing to fit Mary Kay in? When do you see your schedule or life changing to fit Mary Kay in? Or tell me, how do you see Mary Kay impacting your life? How would Mary Kay impact your life if you were to say yes to this? Or how do you feel about a business working for you versus you working for a business? Or I might say, what if you started now and it exceeded your expectations? What if you did start now for that 35 and it exceeded your expectations? Now, let me say this. I'm not going to necessarily say all these questions back. I might choose a couple, but I'm just trying to get you in my brain to when someone says it's just not the right time or I don't know if it's the right time, how I listen, I'm empathetic, but then I ask her a question back. Because what it does is it allows her to think, respond, and we can dig deeper. And you'll notice I'm not asking her a question that she can answer with yes or no. I'm getting her to think, okay? Or sometimes I get this question, I love Mary Kay products, but I just don't want to obligate my friends and family. I don't want them to feel pressured, like they have to buy. I just don't want to obligate my friends or family. Okay, I usually say something like this. Who do you know that would want to just share their opinion about Mary Kay products? No obligation, but who do you know that would just want to share their opinion about the Mary Kay products? Or in what ways would friends and family be willing to support you? In what ways would family and friends be willing to support you? Okay. A lot of times they say, gosh, you know what? Well, they probably would be willing to add people to my customer VIP group, or they probably would be willing to share a couple people that maybe would want to be pampered. Or, I do think my one friend, Stacy, she probably would hold a party for me. I mean, even when they tell me, I don't want them to feel obligated. When I ask that question, it's amazing. They say, my Aunt Betty, she really does like Mary Kay. She probably would do something in her neighborhood. I mean, it's interesting, you guys, when you ask the question back to them based on their objection or their concern, how they respond. Okay. Sometimes I have people, when we share the Mary Kay opportunity, they actually love their other job. They love being a teacher, or they love being a stay-at-home mom, or they love being a doctor or a nurse, or, a dentist or a paralegal. And so they think they have to do Mary Kay or their job. They don't realize that you can do both. And so a lot of times when people say, well, Kristin, I actually really love what I do. I'm not really looking to do another profession. I want to stay in this field. I say, well, tell me this. Could you use an extra $100 a week? Could you use an extra $100 a week? There are many people, you guys, even people that you think are paid very, very well, that say, yeah, well, I could. Or I might say something like, well, what could Mary Kay provide for you that your current job doesn't? What could Mary Kay provide for you that your current job does not? Or, how do you feel knowing that most other consultants build a Mary Kay business with another full-time job? How do you feel knowing that most other consultants build a Mary Kay business with another full-time job? A lot of times people say, I guess I didn't realize that. Or I might say, what do you think of having this be something fun that you can do on the side, but not becoming or replacing your full-time career, just something fun on the side for the friends, for the girl time. Okay? So again, I'm not telling you to ask every single one of these questions, but based on what she says, I kind of have these questions that I'm going to ask back in my hip pocket. And you guys sometimes they absolutely say, yeah, Kristin, it's just not for me. And that's fine. But here's what it does. It gets their wheels in their brain going, right? And sometimes even when they say their answer, they realize, gosh, I think I can do this. I think this is something I should consider. If anything, it's a great layering technique. Okay. I'm getting this a lot, and maybe it's just because I'm in this era of having younger kids, but people say things like, I'll do this when my kids are older. Have you heard that? Yeah, I just like with my kids' ages right now, I'm just going to do it later. Well, we all know that you just need to start because I feel like actually having a 1-year-old and a 9-year-old as my son has gotten older, it's been more difficult, more challenging with my business. I think it's actually easier with smaller kids, believe it or not. But I do see that people use this as an excuse or an objection. I'll do this when my kids are older. Okay. I love to say, how do you think this business could influence your kids positively? How do you think this business could influence your kids positively? Or how much time would you be able to do this business keeping in mind the age of your kids? How much time would you be able to do this business keeping in mind the age of your kids? It's always interesting because a lot of times people think Mary Kay takes a whole lot more time than it actually does. Or they think when they're saying yes to Mary Kay, they're saying yes to 20 hours or 30 hours or 40 hours a week. It's so interesting. And so I love to ask this question because it really, again, starts kind of a dialogue on how little time you can put into this. And it's really up to you, right? Or I say something like, tell me this, what amount of flexibility is important to you to raise your kids? What amount of flexibility is important to you to raise your kids? Okay, or I don't know if you get this one. Of course, I'm all about respecting and honoring our spouses, but sometimes I get the objection of like, I have to ask my husband. And I always think it's funny because it's like a $35 decision, but I have to ask my husband, right? And I love to say this, well, tell me, how do you think he would feel about you joining Mary Kay? How do you think he would feel about you joining Mary Kay? Or what questions or concerns do you think you'll have? What questions or concerns do you think he'll have? And the reason why is a couple things. Number one, a lot of times when I ask them, like, what do you think he'll think about it? They say, well, he probably doesn't care. I mean, he just wants me to be happy. Or, gosh, I think he might think this is good for me. Or when I ask the questions, what concerns do you think he'll have? She might say, well, he might think this is a pyramid scheme. And I said, well, so tell me, do you know how you would respond to that? Like, do you know how to answer that concern? Because sometimes they're like, well, no, I don't. Or no, I know Mary Kay's not. We buy directly from, Mary Kay at 50% and everyone sells, at 50% profit. I'm just making sure she's equipped if he has questions. Because if not, that's a way I can educate her and give her more information. Or she might say like, I might ask her, how does your husband usually support you when you try to start something new? How does your husband usually support you when you want to start something new? I'm finding out, is he supportive? Is he not supportive? Is he positive? Is he negative? Is he, what are we dealing with here? Because again, I'm able then to craft and listen and know how to respond based on her and her needs. You see, the best recruiters in Mary Kay are the best listeners. And they're listening with their heart. I'm not thinking about, oh my gosh, what am I going to say next? How am I going to, respond to this? I'm truly listening to her. And then I usually am responding with another question. Okay, I also get this. I know of someone who did Mary Kay and they quit. Or I knew someone that did Mary Kay and, they sucked. Or it didn't work out for them, And I hear that. So I like to say something like, well, Mary Kay's not for everyone. It really isn't. It's kind of like college. It's not for everyone. But how do you see it impacting you? If you were to do this, how do you see how Mary Kay could impact you? Or I might say, well, tell me, what is your fear surrounding starting a Mary Kay business? What is your fear? Or I might say, what would you need to be different about your experience? Okay. What would you need to be different about your experience? Okay. Because this is usually like, well, you know what? My friend told me she had no support and no training. And, she never heard from her leader or her recruiter, or, she got her first order and then no one helped her. I mean, people say all sorts of stuff, whether it's true or not, it's a concern. And so I listen. And I might say, well, let me tell you about some of the things we have in place for new consultants to get them off to a great start. And, I'm walking her through the ways that we will support her and how I believe this experience will be different for her. But I'm wanting to find out, what is she scared about, right? I also like to say maybe something like this. How do you feel knowing that it's my responsibility to equip, train, and support you based on your own goals? How do you feel knowing it's my responsibility to equip, train, and support you based on your own goals? Okay. All right. Sometimes I get this, I'm not like you, Kristin. Like, I don't have the same personality. Like, I'm not like you. I don't think this is going to work for me. I might say to her, so tell me, what about yourself do you like? What about yourself do you like and that is a strength? Or what qualities do you possess that you would want to share with others? When she tells me that, I ask her, how can these qualities be used in this business? I might even ask her, what training would you need to feel equipped to do this business? What training would you need to have to feel equipped to do this business? And a lot of times they're like, well, Kristin, I don't know anything about makeup. I don't know anything about skincare. Like, I would need to know that. And then I walk her through what we have available to teach and to train and equip her. Okay. So you guys, I'm going to share this document that kind of has some of my cheat sheet questions that I hope are a blessing to you. And I want to impress on you that the most incredible team builders and leaders in our company are truly the best listeners. So I want you to really ask yourself and rate yourself on a 1 to a 10. 1, like, I don't listen at all. I talk. Or 10, yeah, I'm fully present. I really listen before I respond. I want you to rate yourself. And then I want you to ask yourself, gosh, what can I do to improve my listening skills today? We can practice our listening skills with our husband, our kids, our team members, our customers. And it's a very, very important skill to hone in on if you want to be a better leader and a better recruiter in Mary Kay. So some people's objections, you guys, are true objections, and now is not the right time. And we love them, and we want them to know that we value them as a customer. And we want to treat them with the most incredible customer service, because truly, as we know, the best customers become the best team members, right? But some people really do need to be asked questions, listened to, so they can uncover for themselves that Mary Kay is an incredible opportunity. And the ones that figure out that Mary Kay is right for them on their own, because of the questions that you ask and the listening, I believe become the strongest team members. All right, this is National Sales Director Kristin Sharpe signing off. Make today a day that counts.